Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm going to be building a coffee station that's permanent and looks like the rest of our cabinets. Going to be replacing that old table and putting in a nice cabinet with drawers. I'm going to start by cutting the plywood down to size. I'm using a 3/4 inch plywood for the side pieces of this cabinet, and this is a pre-sanded and it's even primed on one side. This is perfect for cabinetry and furniture making when you're going to be painting the wood. If you want to stain it, you'll definitely need to get a different type of plywood that has the oak or birch, whatever veneer you're looking for. Now the goal with this is to make it look as close as possible to the original cabinets, so I'm having to make this custom and try to mimic the same style as everything else in the kitchen. After cutting the two ends of the cabinet, I'm going to go on to cut some horizontal strips that will tie everything together. And I'll be using pocket hole screws to hide all of those screws to make it look really nice. Most of these pieces will be hidden inside or underneath the cabinet. You won't even see it, but that's what's holding everything together. And I'll also be using some of that plywood to put together a frame that's on the face of this cabinet that will cover up everything, make it look really nice. And again, to get a nice finished look on the outside of this frame, I'm going to be putting pocket hole screws on the back side to hold everything together. Once I have everything cut out, I'm going to now start assembling. I'm just going to put a few screws on these to hold them. You can also put some wood glue to hold it really well once that dries. And a few of these horizontal pieces actually need to be mounted together, and so I find it easier to screw all of that, assemble it before adding on the sides. So I'll put some wood glue on that and then screw it down, let it dry, and attach the side pieces after. I would recommend pre-drilling some of these holes, especially on these smaller pieces of plywood. They tend to split if you send a screw through without pre-drilling. Now that I have the cabinet frame assembled, at least, I'm going to come back up here and make sure everything fits really nice and test it out. So we intentionally made the cabinet a little shorter than the rest of the cabinets, and that's basically because the window is in the way and we can't have the cabinet above the window, so we made it so that the countertop will line up pretty well with the bottom of that window frame. But it's also really nice for appliances like large mixers and coffee makers, things like that. You don't have to reach quite as high up onto the cabinets, so it's going to work out really well for this. As I line this up, there's a few things that need to come off. The molding that was on the old cabinet and the quarter round, as well as the molding along the wall. I don't want to notch the cabinet to fit the molding. I would rather take that molding off. Now it's at this point that I realize the cabinet face needs to be reworked a little bit. There's too much space in between the drawer faces and the door next to it to match the rest of the cabinet. So I'm going to trim that vertical piece a little bit and rework that face so that it lines up with everything else. But first I leveled the entire cabinet, mounted it to the old cabinets as well as the wall, and made sure everything's good to go. Now you can see the frame here, that vertical piece on the right is just a little bit thinner so that it will give a little less space in between the drawer faces and that cabinet door next to it. The cabinet frame and the face is mounted. I'm going to move on to making the drawers. I'm going to cut all the side pieces for the drawers. Then I need to also run a dado down through these so that they're notched for the plywood to fit inside. And so I'll send that through the table saw and dado it real quick, and then any excess that needs to be shaved off, I'll use a chisel to break that out. These are really large drawers, so I want to make sure that the bottom of the drawer is rugged enough, so I'm going to be using 1/2 inch plywood for this. I'm going to glue all the sides together, and then you use a strap clamp to hold everything together really tight. I'll also put in a few finished nails to tack it in place while that glue dries. Next, I'll move on to cutting the drawer faces, and I'll make this a little bit taller and wider than the face of the cabinet so it has a nice overhang and it covers everything up. To mount the drawers, we're going to be using these nice undermount hidden drawer slides. They work really well and you don't see them at all, which is nice. Now that I've got the drawers hung, I'm going to move on to mounting the drawer faces. And to do this, I'm going to be using 4 screws on the inside of the drawer to screw into the drawer face, and this holds it really well. The nice thing about mounting the faces after you put the drawers in, if the drawer is off at all, you can easily correct that with the drawer face. Make sure everything lines up like it's supposed to. It's a lot easier than being Next, I'm going to be adding a few finishing touches like the toe kick at the bottom of the cabinet and the quarter round and the side moldings as well, just to finish this off and make it match the rest of the kitchen. Then I'll take the drawers back out and add a few coats of paint to match the rest of the cabinets. While the drawers are out, I'm also going to add a coat of clear coat or polyacrylic over top of the wood inside of the drawers. This will just help seal it and protect it. We're not going to be painting in there, so that will just give it an extra layer of protection. I'm also going to be attaching a butcher block countertop over top of this. When I replaced the kitchen countertops previously, I saved a piece for this cabinet because I knew I was going to do this. If you guys are interested in seeing how to do a butcher block countertop, go check out that video. But I'm just going to attach this from the underside of the cabinet and then caulk all the edges to make sure that no moisture gets behind the countertops. All the paint has had time to fully dry. Now I'm going to mount the handles on this. I like to put a little piece of tape on here so I can make all the marks I need to with a pen or marker and then drill out the holes. It also helps the wood from splitting out or tearing out sometimes. But once you're done drilling it out and making your marks, you can easily peel the tape right off and you have a nice clean surface. We're going to be using these aged brass fixtures for handles. The type that we have for our kitchen actually got discontinued, so they don't make it anymore, but we were able to find one that really complements the style of everything else and looks nice. I'll give you Alright guys, that just about finishes up the video for today. Hope you enjoyed this one. I'll give you a quick before and after picture of what this looks like, how it turned out. We love this. You couldn't hardly even tell that this wasn't originally part of the cabinets, and it fits in seamlessly. So I hope you guys found this helpful. If you did, hit that like button down below. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I'll see you in the next one.